Are live. Welcome everybody to this Too Sweet in Short, brought to you by Too Sweet Cosplay. What's up? I am Nico.
Steve-O here.
Wild card.
EJV.
All right, so let's talk about the newest WWE signee, if you will, Dominic Mysterio, the son of Rey Mysterio Jr. This past Monday on Raw, he actually signed a contract to face Seth Rollins at this year's SummerSlam, and he's also now an active in-ring performer for the WWE. After the signing, Rollins and Murphy beat down Dominic, and Rollins would hit him over and over with a kendo stick, leaving his body covered in several nasty cuts, bruises, and abrasions. So, what are your guys' thoughts here? Do you think that Dominic Mysterio is ready to be competing in the WWE? Should he have gone through NXT first, or is this kind of just plain favorites? What's your guys' take on this situation? Who would like to go first? I see a couple of you fighting over it.
Go ahead, Nico.
Yeah. Hey. It's baptism by fire for the kid. Um. First of all, welcome to the show, uh, Dominic Mysterio. I think he'll be fine. First and foremost. Uh, Jesus H Christ, I about cringed after the Kane beating, but this was the young man getting his initiation. Seeing that Kane beating uh originally brought me back to Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman and Woman segment in the original ECW. Uh, I thought the segment was perfect. I thought it was brutal. I thought it was beautiful, if I'm being completely honest. Mainly because I do love a little bit of violence with my pro wrestling. Uh, but I thought it was great. It's baptism by fire for the kid. He's learning. He's gonna learn on the fly. I think having him in a brawl to start out is gonna be benefit him. Having him work with a guy like a Seth Rollins, who has probably been the best performer in the WWE overall the past 8 years, I think works because he's a guy that can sort of, I don't want to say hold his hand in this big match, but he's a guy who can guide him. And Dominic Mysterio does have uh, the training not and the tutelage not just from his father, but from good workers like a Lance Storm. I believe he was one of the final trainees of Lance Storm's training academy, if I remember correctly. So he's good there. The kid's gonna be able to work. Um, I like the theme music that they're giving the kid. They immediately gave him some theme music, so when WWE gives you some pretty bopping theme music, um, they're behind you. Uh, the music kind of reminds me a little bit of the Latin rap or hip hop song that was played in the very first Fast and Furious film at the beginning of the movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the original Fast and Furious film. Uh, right when Paul Walker's character pulls up to the diner, listen to that theme song, and then listen to Dominic Mysterio's theme music. There are a little bit of similarities there. I know that's something that some people might not care about, but I found it kind of cool and interesting. But one thing I did find interesting out of all this um, is the wrestlers active in WWE and non-active that immediately got behind Dominic Mysterio for taking this beating with the kendo stick and the cane or cane, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was cool. Um, Excited to see what the kid can do. I'm sure the match will be good at SummerSlam. Definitely something I'm looking forward to.
Very nice. Who would like to share their thoughts next? Wild card.
So I'll go next. I won't be really won't be too long with this because I'm not really sure what I make of this. I do like it, but part of me thinks that it's like maybe it's a little too soon. But he's a Mysterio. It's in his blood. It's wrestling is essentially part of his life. So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, with a little fine tuning, that he will eventually be a potential top superstar in WWE or any other wrestling promotion one day. So, but the other thing too is that I feel like that it just to me it just feels like it's almost forced, that it's like, okay, he's Rey Mysterio's son, and he's in a way kind of like, just being put on the spotlight just immediately too. Not to say it's like basically like a sink or swim type method for him, but I will say that he's getting his dues. He's paying his dues figuratively and literally. If you saw all the bruises and the shots that he took with that kendo stick, I mean, it was those weren't fake shots, people. Those were real, very real, and you can see a lot of the social media pictures if you don't believe me. But I'm kind of half and half about the situation. But I am interested in seeing what he does next, especially with Rollins.
Very nice. And EJV, how about your thoughts on this new superstar?
Like Andy said, Dominic being thrown into this, yeah, he's thrown into the fire, basically, so to speak, with being thrown into a big time moment such as SummerSlam against one of the top stars in the past 5 to 10 years of Seth Rollins. But like Andy also said, like Nico said, wrestling is in his blood. It's in his DNA. He's a Mysterio, for peace sakes. If anybody could come in such a short time and make themselves be impactful and make a great showing on their first night as an in-ring performer, it'll be Dominic. And to me, a lot of people were cringing about the Kane shots, and I agree. Yeah, they were brutal. They were nasty. I mean, he was practically bleeding from some of them shots. But like a lot of people said, and a lot of the wrestling community has said, it's paying his dues. Like, he didn't, where a lot of these wrestlers have gone 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 years traveling around the world, hitting every indie around. This is Dominic's first ever match as an in-ring performer, which a lot of people don't get their first in-ring performance to be on WWE on one of the big 4 pay-per-views. So to me, if Dominic is ready, which I think he will be because he's trained with the best, like Nico said, Lance Storm at the Storm Wrestling Academy. He was one of the last few graduates, like Nico said. I think if anybody's ready to be on a big stage, it's Dominic, and I think he'll. It's either going to be show up or get out for this kid, and I think he'll do well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if they're putting him in SummerSlam and are putting him in a big match, I think he probably has shown that he has some potential behind the scenes. I mean, yes, we've seen situations where the WWE has put their eggs in the basket with like second generation superstars or third generation superstars of wrestlers who did have great success, like Kurt Hennig with the Curse of Axel. We can also go with a lot of names. Ted DiBiase Jr., but I digress, where we've seen them sink and swim. And then we've seen some, are the cream of the crop, like Charlotte Flair. She is a great talent and is definitely living up to the Ric Flair name. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Very interesting. They're going to have him debut at SummerSlam. I mean, they're putting a great opponent against him with Seth Rollins. You can't get a better opponent than him, especially in today's WWE. But yeah, he took a lot of stiff shots. He shows he has some strength if he can take all those lashings from Seth and Buddy. But yeah, I thought his delivery on the promos wasn't too bad either. Maybe he can use a little work down the line, but I thought he did a pretty solid job. I think he has a good look for himself. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of a ring gear he has, if he's going to try to don a mask, if he's going to have a match, or if he's just going to come out as he is already. We can see how it goes either way. Either way, I'm feeling pretty optimistic with Dominic Mysterio. I can definitely understand how some people would be upset that some of their favorite wrestlers currently in NXT or whatever you will may not be on the main roster right away. While this kid, because he has one of the best as his father, gets a spot on the main roster right away. I could see some jealousy and some disappointment there, but I mean, I don't think WWE would put him in this position if he hasn't shown delivery on hand right away. So I'm pretty optimistic. We'll talk about it a little more next week in the SummerSlam predictions, but I'm feeling pretty good about Dominic Mysterio having his upcoming debut at this year's SummerSlam. Before we close the show out, would you guys like to add anything else to the conversation?
Yeah, real quick, Steve. You talked about a bunch of wrestlers, second generation or otherwise, that either sink or swim, or that get their name in the door because of what their last name is. I hate that. I hate that because there are more. If you think about it, there are more wrestlers that are second generation or third generation or get into the business because of a famous relative before them that actually don't make it if you look through the history of the industry. So I hate it when I see somebody like, oh, Charlotte Flair only got here because of who her daddy is. Shut the fuck up. I hate that. Because that woman the name got her through the door, but she put in the work. Tessa Blanchard's another one. And I guarantee you, especially because what we saw on Raw this past week and what we've seen in his little run-in so far, Dominic Mysterio is going to put in the work. Will he be a big household name? Who knows? One day. Only time will tell. But I guarantee you, this kid will put in the work. Another thing that I noticed, I didn't talk about this during my original spiel in depth, but something that I saw that I thought was really cool. Being a Hispanic, Mexican American wrestling fan, seeing the other Latino Hispanic wrestlers in the WWE, most of them are luchadors or former luchadors, a la Andrade, say, hey, we see you, Dominic, or we stand with you, La Raza, which means basically, family. So seeing that, maybe this could lead to something of some sort of faction. I don't want to see like an LWO type of thing, but I think it'd be cool. I mean, we haven't had, and when I say we, I say as a Latin American, we haven't had that type of representation in the WWE since Rey Mysterio and since Eddie Guerrero. Maybe in wrestling in general. I mean, we saw TNA give Pentagon a try. It worked, but at the time, I don't think Impact was really, where they are right now. Who knows if AEW gives Pentagon or Ray Phoenix a good singles run? I would hope. But I would just like to see maybe more of a positive run for my Latinos in wrestling. Okay, I'm done.
Very nice. Yeah, it would be nice to see some of that more in wrestling. Does anyone else have anything else to add before we close this out? All right. So thank you all for watching this too sweet and short discussion about Dominic Mysterio. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to Too Sweet Cosplay on YouTube. And also, if you haven't done so already, please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter, simply at Too Sweet Cosplay. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Too sweet, y'all.